Newt, is Republican infighting threatening the extension of Trump's tax cuts?
Donald Trump has a problem. Trump wants to extend the massive tax cuts he pushed through in 2017. They will expire at the end of this year unless legislation is passed to extend them. But Trump has no time to waste. He needs to pass the extension right away.
The Trump team understands that if they don't pass the tax cut, the extension of the tax cuts, plus things like taking the corporate rate to 15, in the first few months of this presidency, it will be too late to affect the 2025 year and the 2026 election year. The president lost the House of Representatives in 2018. 40 Republicans lost the House because they delayed the tax cuts. It didn't get signed for a year, December 22nd, and you had this wonderful growth in 2019 after we lost the House.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that again. That was stupid. That will not happen again under Trump's watch and under Speaker Johnson's watch.
With tight majorities in both the Senate and the House, Trump can't afford to lose many Republican votes. The problem is that many Republican legislators have significant concerns about the price tag. But Trump is now asking for even more.
So these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration that the president has laid out for members in that meeting today. No tax on tips, which is obviously a very public campaign promise that the president made. No tax on seniors' Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing President Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the president's priorities. Adjusting the SALT cap, eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners, close the carried interest tax deduction loophole, tax cuts for Made in America products. This will be
gains. So then what happened yesterday was the price tag went up considerably because the president went back to the things that he ran on during the election. And he also said, no tax on tips, no tax on seniors, no tax on overtime, and just kept adding up the cost of this. We are now looking at a tax bill that would lose revenue from anywhere from about $5 trillion to over $11 trillion over the next decade. Given our fiscal situation, we not only need to be offsetting this, we need to be doing it in a way that actually reduces the debt.
If these numbers don't make you pucker up and scare the crap out of you, you don't understand. Yet when you see some of us stressing out, when you see some of us, he's being disharmonious. Maybe it's because I own a damn calculator.
And by the way, there's a ticking clock to talk about here before a government shutdown. Keep in mind, March 14th is the government funding deadline. The White House, Natalie, that March deadline really means it's go time for Team Trump.
Yeah, that's right, Reed, and that's why he's huddling behind closed doors with Republican lawmakers as they try to hash out the way forward.
And while it's been late coming, I think at least in the Republican Party, while a lot of members of Congress are intimidated about the prospect of opposing Trump, it's getting easier and easier to do.
Yesterday, House Republicans met behind closed doors to discuss a plan to pass Trump's agenda. The meeting was reportedly contentious. One Republican described it as, quote, predictably emotional. Newt, is Republican infighting threatening the extension of Trump's tax cuts?
Well, no, I think in the end, the tax cuts will be extended because even the Democrats can't go home, and they realize that if you don't extend them, you have a huge tax increase on the average family. So in the end, they're going to get this done. My worry, and I say this over and over again, they have to get it done by May or June in order to have an economy next year growing fast enough to increase the House Republican majority. If they lose the House next year, and you just had a report on this, the Democrats are going to go crazy with investigations, with fights over policy, with efforts to impeach. So for the Trump presidency to truly succeed, one of their highest goals has to be to keep the House. In order to keep the House, they have to get a tax bill through by May or June.
So how are they going, where are they going to come up with the revenue to be able to pass it with the very slim margins they currently have?
Gimmicks. One of the big concerns here is that what's going to happen is instead of really matching all of the tax cuts with spending reductions so that you would have a fiscally sound bill, that we're going to start looking at ways to pretend that it won't add as much to the debt as it really would. One idea is talking about astronomical growth levels compared to what we're likely to see. Another is talking about a shorter window so the tax cuts would only be there for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Okay, so someone yesterday said, okay, let's get rid of the federal subsidy on tax-exempt bonds for stadiums. Okay, great. We calculate that's about 6 or 7 seconds of borrowing for a year. Department of Education salaries. So if you get rid of the Department of Education salaries, and I think this is all of them, is about $2.75 billion. So 9 hours of borrowing. Am I starting to make a point on the scale of what we have to actually tell the truth and deal with? So let's actually go to something a little bigger. Let's get rid of the foreign aid. Okay, foreign aid's gone. You got yourself a week.
But we had a great meeting the other day and yesterday in the Oval Office with about 22 House members, and they were from all sides, super conservative and slightly on the progressive side. I said, you know, I heard them, I listened for a little while, and then I said, you know, why don't we just balance the budget? Why don't we cut certain things and balance the budget? Don't touch Social Security, don't touch Medicare, Medicaid, just leave them alone now. Just let's see if we can balance the budget. And they started screaming and shouting, and we don't always agree on everything, but we get there. We had a couple of...
So how will this all play out? Will Trump get what he wants? Or will the hardline Republican lawmakers stand strong in their opposition? We shall see.